Now broadcasting from the Next Gen Conservative Studio in sunny South Florida, bringing you the latest in politics, current events, and pop culture. This is the Whitfield Report with Sam Whitfield.
Well, good afternoon / evening, everybody, and welcome to the Whitfield Report Thursday edition of the show. I am your host, Sam Whitfield, broadcasting live here for an impromptu live version of the show. So I hope you all are doing good here on this Thursday afternoon / evening, wherever you are in the past, present, future hour, and whatnot. So yeah, we're just doing this show impromptu. Usually I do the Thursday show as like an impromptu audio show, but as you guys watching on YouTube and the video podcast afterwards may be able to see here, I am dressed up kind of fancy today in my now that it's kind of cooling off here. I usually like to try and dress a little bit like this when I do the show. I kind of have like a semi-professional talk show look, at least from the waist up. But anyway, so let's just dive right into it, shall we? This Dave Chapelle special and the outrage surrounding it. Last week on the Saturday show, Apex and I talked about about Dave Chapelle's special, The Closer, or The Closer, I should say. And, it was good. It wasn't as good as Dave Chapelle's Sticks and Stones, in my opinion. That one is one of the best Chappelle specials, in years. Perhaps, I wouldn't say that that's his best ever. Out of all the ones I've seen, personally, it's the best I've seen. The Sticks and Stones ones, but, there might be some of, Dave's other specials that, like, the hardcore OG Dave fans think is better. I don't know. At any rate, I guess the trans community, and when I say trans community, let me clarify by saying I'm not sure how many in the trans community, but a certain section for sure of the trans community is outraged by Dave Chapelle's special because he made some jokes about transgender people, and mostly about how being transgendered, and how transgender people are just kind of strange in general, and how transgenderism is a bit weird, and he's not really wrong there. And here's the real kicker. A lot of transgender people themselves on Twitter that I know of were like, yeah, I have a problem. But I guess this thing started out like there's a big walkout now of like trans activists at Netflix. They were like trying to organize like a walkout over Dave Dave's special. But the real kicker is that a lot of these people that are outraged were like, so this is what these activists tend to do, right? They'll write articles about like Dave Chappelle's special, and the feminists did the same thing with Louis C.K.'s special as well. They write articles about specials that they've never seen. And then they immediately are like, we need to cancel X, Y, or Z comedian because we don't agree with their viewpoint or their perceived viewpoint based on this joke that they made. And we find this joke offensive even though they're comedians. And comedians are supposed to joke around, that's what they do. But we don't care because we're offended, so they need to go. And we're gonna get outraged, and that's the way it is, right? That's what these activist types do. And yeah, believe me, I know that there's some of you people who are saying, well, there are right-wing people who do the same, who overreact. Yeah, no shit. I've dealt with those people too in the past, as many of you know. So it exists on both sides, right? But getting back to the whole Chappelle thing itself, these people clearly didn't watch the special because if they had, they would know that Chappelle actually spent like 10 minutes, the last 10 minutes of his show, talking about this transgender comedian that he knew and was actually friends with. And, spoiler, this friend of his ended up committing suicide, and now Dave Chappelle is putting together like a trust fund of some kind to make sure that this individual's kid is being taken care of. So yeah, sorry for the spoiler, although I assume that many of you have seen it by now. And I know that you activist types who haven't seen it aren't gonna watch it anyway. So, there you go. Your argument is invalidated. But what's really irritating to me is how much press this has gotten too. Right? Like all these think pieces about how evil Dave Chappelle is, how transphobic he is. They've all been like, top in like Google News and whatnot. And it's weird, okay? And it's nonsensical, especially since if you read into any of these, they haven't watched Dave's show. So, but this is where we're at now in the culture war. These people don't know how to make creative stuff themselves, so they just steal intellectual properties like Batman, like Superman. And oh yeah, you guys thought I missed bisexual Superman? I might not have covered that last week, but that doesn't mean I forgot about it. Oh no. But by the way, this podcast is not sponsored by Yingling. I just, it's Thursday. I'm off. I have the house all to myself for this weekend and part of next week. So, cheers. Just so you guys know, I like beer. Maybe not as much as Chuck, but I like beer. Um, anyway though, so these trans activists, I guess that like work at Netflix, like organized like an employee walkout because of this special. But here's my question. Did any of you guys at the company actually watch the special? Or more importantly, did you guys watch uh to the very end? Because it's clear that some of you guys didn't. Otherwise, as I just mentioned, you would, if you had, you would have seen that Dave was actually very complimental of trans people. Although, here's what it is with Chappelle. He wasn't bashing trans people. He was making fun of the fact that these trans people, some of them are overly aggressive and some of them are just weird. And you guys are proving his point by doing what you're doing now. By acting, irrational, and by saying that Dave is, bashing you guys. I mean, I read like one piece on Medium, and let's be honest, I know that Medium is a garbage website. Anyway, but I read this piece on Medium, and it was like Dave Chapelle is promoting transphobia, and now I'm afraid to go outside because of, for fear of being lynched or something. I that was the general gist of the article. How weak do you have to be for a comedy special to trigger you so much like that? That you're afraid to go outside because a comedian made an observation, uh, about how bitch made some people are. And by the way, by acting so outraged over this, you guys are proving his point that trans people can't really take a joke, that it is a weird kind of subculture, and that a lot of you are bringing down, the rest of the community. You guys who are, striking and doing all these protests anytime someone makes fun of trans people. You guys are the ones making trans people look bad, not Dave Chapelle. Okay? Now, as far as where I go, because people are always like, "Oh, well, Sam, you're transphobic too because you're Mr. MAGA man, Donald Trump MAGA." Here's the thing. I don't understand necessarily transgenderism or why someone would want to transition. I don't get it. I I am a white, straight, red-blooded American male. I like chicks, actual chicks, uh, and I'm a normal dude, except for the fact that I'm crippled. But I make up for being crippled by having a big schlong. So it evens out. But I digress. At any rate, I recognize that, in your guys' like hierarchy of oppression, I recognize the fact that I'm crippled only gets me so far because I still am white straight male and good looking. But even so, you know, are you guys who even are you guys even mad at Dave Chappelle, or is this just another PR stunt to try and get more attention? Because at this rate, that's what it feels like. And I'm also, if this came from an employee at Netflix, did you guys watch the special even? I'd like to hear one person who watched the entire special, who worked at Netflix, and still wanted to walk out and strike after this. Watch the whole entire thing. Because I doubt that it actually happened. These people probably just want money and, a payout from Netflix, because why not? We live in that's the society we live in. As George Costanza on Seinfeld used to say, we live in a society, and that's the problem. We live in a society. Now, I can't play any clips of Chappelle's special, because if I do, this thing is gonna get yeeted from YouTube faster than a prom queen loses her virginity on prom night. But yeah, it's just I don't even think it's that these people are outraged. I think it's mainly that people want to, they want to pay off from Netflix. That they want free press. They want free. They want like more notoriety, but which, like I just said, you guys aren't doing yourselves any favors by pulling publicity is not like this. You guys are just making the rest of the trans community look bad. You guys are actually like giving legitimacy to the legit people who hate trans people. Not me. When it comes to when it comes to transgenderism, like I said, I don't get it. I think it's weird, but I don't have a dog in the fight. As long as, I won't say this, as long as you're like a consenting adult and whatnot, you're 18, then do whatever you want to do with your own body. That's your business. The kids thing, that's a little different, and that's where we'll have some disagreements. But strictly speaking, if you want to, wear a dress and get like hormones and whatnot when you're an adult and whatnot, you be you, dude. I might not fully understand it, but it's not my choice. But for God's sakes, this are you guys really this pissed off at Dave Chappelle that you guys are threatening to like walk out of Netflix? It's just, it's weird, and everyone knows it is. On the flip side, right? on the flip side, you have all these like you know, like Chad LARPers and whatnot, Trump LARPers, who are like, oh, Netflix is the greatest company in the world now. That they're so based for sticking it to the trannies. Yeah, but Cuties still exists on Netflix. Did we? And that like happened 5 minutes ago. Did we forget all about that? Now I still have a Netflix account. I don't pay for it, but I have access to one. Um, so but all these people were like outraged about Netflix last year are all of a sudden all like Netflix is based as fuck and whatnot, and it's like nah. At the end of the day, Netflix is a platform. It's a streaming service. So anyway, I think it's weird just how many people are getting so worked up, and the other thing is, uh, Dave Chappelle makes fun of like he makes fun of conservative people too. I don't get where, uh, people are thinking Dave Chappelle is all of a sudden like a right wing, guy. He's he's not a he's not the black face of white supremacy. That's Larry Elder, and Dave Chappelle is no Larry Elder. Just because he's not, but because he's not like totally far left, some people can't out there can't handle it. So it's just bizarre and silly. And as far as the whole bisexual Superman thing goes, I think it's ridiculous. You know, I don't really get like all these people are like outraged by it because here's the thing. Um, no one, no one is gonna, no one is gonna buy these Superman comics. No one is. It's not going to be a success, right? DC Comics has had to like reboot their franchise like 3 times over the last 8 years since I've been here in Florida. They've had more reboots of their entire like universe than we've had presidential elections uh recently. Seriously, like the last consistent timeline we had was like through the mid to like late aughts. That's 2000s for those of you who are not familiar with internet slang. But yeah. I'm not that worried just because I know that I think bisexual Superman is going to fail. Uh, just because the target demographics it's trying to reach, most of them are not like comic book readers anyway, and the ones that are like like they don't care about that. Like I know people who are bisexual. I know people who are gay. A lot of people who are like comic book fans and are into fandom, they don't care about identity politics, and most people don't. And these activists who are like pushing for it, they're not the ones who read this stuff religiously. They just want to change it. That's what happens. And also, I guess they now have like a gay cross-dressing like model on like the cover of Playboy magazine too, which is interesting because for those of you who don't know, Playboy went out of print like pretty much after Hefner died. Now they're just doing like it's digital only, and it reads like a bad like oh, what's that stupid like hipster blog that all the hipsters used to go to. Yeah, it's a blog that like everyone knew like what it was like 4 or 5 years ago, but now no one goes to it. But yeah, basically that's what Playboy has become after Hef died. So they're irrelevant, and someone brought it to my attention that like they had a gay cover model, and I'm just like, yeah, well that brand is dead anyway, so this is another death nail in the coffin. Oddly enough, Cooper Hefner is. I think he finally unblocked me, but it was interesting. He blocked me because during the election, he was saying that like his dad never liked Donald Trump ever, and all I did was like, say like, hey, your dad was like one of the only guys to like ever be featured on the cover of Playboy, period. That was all I said, and then I tweeted a photo of Hefner and Donald Trump together. That like it wasn't photoshopped. Like you can find photos of the two of them together. Just like out there. It's not a secret or anything like that. But he blocked me like temporarily. That and I might have said something that like I was going to buy the magazine after it went bankrupt. And like do a better job. So that might have been why I got blocked. And I mean, I'm partially joking, but also not really. Like the way they're running that thing into the ground, uh, I'll probably be able to buy at the dollar store at this rate. But anyway, well, yeah. What can I say? Just the world is going crazy. I know the supply chains and whatnot are breaking down too. I know that Biden is continuing to lose his shit like every single day. That's just where we're at. I also know that the big fat idiot, as I'm calling him now, is mad at Rogan and whatnot. And I made a video about that and whatnot. And I didn't want to end the show with this, but I guess I will just say it's amusing to me that like I haven't covered the fat idiot directly pretty much like since January, like in February. Like I've moved on from the fat idiot. But you know, I simply clipped the part of Rogan's podcast where like Rogan mentioned him, uploaded that, and all of a sudden like I'm obsessed again. And I've got all his cult fans like commenting on the video like, you're obsessed, you're obsessed, you're obsessed. And you know, then like commenting on old videos. You know, even though like it wasn't even my video. All I did was I clipped you know, Rogan mentioning this guy, not even mentioning this guy, making reference to this individual, and I just kind of said, you know, that's interesting. That was it. But all of a sudden, I'm obsessed, you know, with the fat idiot again. And I'm not going to use his name because he doesn't even deserve that much credit. But yeah, you guys think I'm obsessed. Maybe you guys are obsessed. And it wasn't even that I was obsessed with him to begin with. You know, he went after my friends and, you know, slandered us. So that was what those 2 years were about. As far as Johnny Arcade goes, and people are like, oh, why is he posting, you know, fathead guy content again? Listen, I can't control what other people will do on their channels. I'm in control of the Whitfield war in this corner of the internet. I don't have control over Johnny or Chuck or Scorpio or anyone, nor would I want to. It's their channels. But I appreciate knowing that I have hate watchers who just hate watch me just to see if I'm going to mention the idiot again. So, you know, I guess you got what you wanted. So this is a kind of a shout out to all my haters and whatnot. So hello to you guys. You know, I hope you've enjoyed the show so far. And you know, it's funny. You think I'm an idiot, you think I'm a moron, but yet here you are, you know, giving me more views and whatnot, and continuing to, you know, download my stuff. I haven't even watched that guy in about a year, nor do I care to. You know, just a brief, just a brief detour addressing the haters who I know will watch this and continue to see it in the comments. I've said my piece, though. Seriously, you guys have no reason to hate me. You know, but it is what it is. Well, folks, I want to thank you for tuning in to the Whitfield Report. Thank you to everyone in chat. Thank you to Chuck, to Fat Kickboy, and to Dawson and Alan for popping in to the chat as well. I'm not sure if there's going to be an after show tonight or not. I think Apex and people are working. So we might do an after show tomorrow, though. Or like a Friday night session. Not sure yet. At any rate, you can go to either patreon.com/Whitfield Report or anchor.fm/Whitfield54 and subscribe to the show for $4.99 a month and get the additional premium episodes of the podcast to support the show. All of the links to support the show will be both in the description of the video and in the description of the podcast. You guys just support the show. Really appreciate it. Thanks to all of you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next program.
Thanks for listening to The Whitfield Report on the NGC Network. Please visit Sam's website at www.thesamwhitfield.com and support Sam on Patreon at patreon.com/Whitfield Report. Until next time, God bless, God save this great nation, and God, freedom, legacy, in that order.